This story is a little unusual for a story about a serial killer. Paul John Knowles was known as the Cassanova Killer. He was born in 1946 and claims to have murdered 35 people before his death. However, authorities have only confidently linked him to 18. All 18 were killed in just 4.5 months from July to November 1974. In those months, Knowles traveled all over the Northeast and the Southeast of the US, randomly killing strangers and anyone else who got in his way. He stole cars from some of his victims to allow him to continue his spree. So let's get into it. This map shows the first half of Knowles' spree. After serving time in Florida State Prison, he flew out to San Francisco to be with a woman he had become engaged to while in prison, Angela Kovic. She called off the engagement pretty quickly because she became afraid of him. He would say he killed 3 people in San Francisco that night, but probably not. What he did do was return to Jacksonville, Florida, where he stabbed a bartender, got arrested, and then put the lock on his cell and escaped. That was July 26, 1974, the beginning of the spree that would see 18 people dead. So he escaped from his jail cell and breaks into the home of 65-year-old Alice Henrietta Curtis. He gagged her, tore through her house for money and other valuables, and stole her car. She choked from being gagged. A few days later, in Warner Robins, Georgia, Imogene Sanders disappeared. She was just 13. Her remains were not found until April 1976, but Knowles made a credible taped confession in her death. The same day that Ima disappeared, Knowles claimed to have kidnapped 2 young sisters in Jacksonville, but authorities do not believe this is true, and frankly, it doesn't match his modus operandi. On August 2nd, though, he was in Atlantic Beach, Florida. He killed Marjorie Howie, 49, in her apartment, and he stole her television. 3 weeks later, he broke into Kathy Sue Pierce's home in Musella, Georgia. She was 24 and home with her 3-year-old son. He strangled her but left the toddler unharmed. Then on September 3rd, William Bates was at a pub called the Scots Inn in Lima, Idaho. He was reported missing when he did not come home. Alice's car, stolen by Knowles, was found near the bar. Bates' car was stolen then. Bates was strangled, stripped, and dumped in the woods where his nude body was found in October. So then Knowles goes off to Ely, Nevada, where he killed 2 campers on September 18th. They were Emmett Alexander Johnson, 62, and his wife, Lois Mildred Johnson. On September 22nd, he killed 42-year-old Yvonne Charlene Hicks and dumps her body near a rest stop in Seguin, Texas, where she was found on the 25th. He then picks up Ann Jean Dawson on September 23rd, 1974, in Birmingham, Alabama. He traveled with her for 6 days. It's unclear whether she went with him willingly or not, but in any event, he killed her and dumped her in the Mississippi on the 29th. She was found in the river on November 15th, 1977. He then takes some time to travel to Connecticut, where he killed Karen Wynn and her daughter Dawn Marie in Marlborough on October the 16th, and he steals a tape recorder from their home. So this is the map of the second half of this bizarre spree. 2 days after killing Karen, he killed 53-year-old Doris Hosey in Connecticut. Then he heads back to Florida after that, to Key West, where he picks up 2 hitchhikers. A police officer pulled them over, likely saving the lives of the hitchhikers. Although he let Knowles go with a warning for a traffic infraction, Knowles was so shaken, he just dropped the hitchhikers off in Miami unharmed. He takes the tape recorder at this point, the one he stole, and starts recording confessions. He's going to send these, he's going to address these to a lawyer. November 2nd comes around and Knowles is in Mason, Georgia, where he likely killed Edward Hillard, 23, and Debbie Griffin, 20. Hillard was found nearby, but Griffin was dumped in Crawford County, Georgia, where she was found in August 1975. On November 6th, Carswell Hall Carr Sr., 45, befriended Knowles. He invites him back to his house for the night, and Knowles killed him and then killed his 15-year-old daughter, Amanda Beth Carr. 2 days later, he meets 45-year-old journalist in Atlanta. Her name is Sandy Fox. They parted ways when he was unable to perform during an intimate encounter, but then he picks up an acquaintance of hers and demands sex from that woman at gunpoint. She managed to get away and told police. Patrol officers find him, but when they try to arrest him, he brandishes this sawed-off shotgun and escapes. Just a few days later, he shows up in West Palm Beach, where he breaks into the home of Beverly Mabee and abducted her sister, Barbara Mabee Abel, who was 32, and he steals another car. He took her to Fort Pierce, Florida, and Knowles raped her. Then he let her go. On November 16, the Florida Highway Patrol officer, Charles Eugene Campbell, recognized Bates' stolen car near Perry, Florida. Now, the officer was 35 years old. Knowles manages to get Officer Campbell's gun away from him and takes him hostage. He steals the police car with Campbell in it. He used the siren to pull over James Mayer, who was 29 years old, and took him hostage as well. This time he swaps out the cop car for Mayer's car. He takes his 2 hostages to a forested area in Pulaski County, Georgia. He handcuffed them to a tree and shot both of them dead. So Henry County sheriffs spot him and they begin a chase. Knowles crashes the car straight through a roadblock in Henry County. He escapes on foot, firing at the officers who are chasing him. And in the process, he was shot in the foot himself. They get the dogs out. Officers from other agencies come out. Helicopters come out. It was just a rather crazy pursuit, the kind you would see in some kind of action movie. However, Knowles escapes the perimeter of the chase. The police would not have been able to pursue him further when one of the heroes of this story suddenly emerges. He is David Clark, 27, and he is a Vietnam War vet and a hospital maintenance worker. He's also armed with a shotgun, and he got Knowles cornered before turning him over to police, who then arrest and handcuff him. He was in a police car. This is not over yet. He was in a police car with Sheriff Earl Lee and GBI agent Ronnie Angel. He is supposed to take them to help recover evidence in the murder of the Florida trooper. Lee was driving. Back in those days, they didn't necessarily have any barriers in police vehicles to separate the officers from suspects like Knowles. So Knowles tries to escape again. He grabs Lee's handgun, and a struggle ensued. Lee's trying to fight off Knowles and maintain control of the vehicle, which, at the time that Knowles tries to grab his gun, they're headed down a highway, just the instant before. In the fight, the gun goes off through the holster. Agent Angel then places his weapon right up on Knowles, and he fires 3 shots into his chest, killing him nearly instantly. And that is how the Cassanova Killer was caught and ended. Thank you for listening. If you're enjoying these videos and want more, don't forget to subscribe and turn on your notifications so that you don't miss any videos. Thank you for watching. We really appreciate it.